Good morning, and welcome to your business in digital. Super excited to be here, guys. How are you, Michael in Trinidad? Andrea, what is going on?
It is
How are you guys doing
blissfully
this morning?
hot. It is blissfully hot.
Good morning.
Oh my goodness. Okay, all the
Trying,
people that
trying
get
to reach down. I'm happy for the heat. This time people here dying.
right. Okay. All
It's
right.
good. It's all
Well,
good. It's all good.
good. Well, so glad that you guys are here. So glad to be here with you guys. Your business in digital. We're super excited. Let's get the party started. Let's kick the show off. All right, let's go. Good morning, and welcome to your business in digital. I am Tamara, super excited to be here with you guys. Oh, we already have people in the chat joining us. Good morning, Juma. How are you? See, you are back on the scene. All right, so here at Your Business in Digital, what we do is we help you translate your business to digital. We understand that it can be daunting, right? Especially if you're a business owner thinking about, hey, I want to scale my business to the next level. How do I do that in digital? If you are a CMO looking to outsource your marketing efforts, really thinking about where can I get that done? What are the things I need to understand? And if you are a CFO who just signs off, on digital, you want to understand what you're signing off on. How do you get to that place of ROI? That's what we do here at Your Business in Digital. We talk to you about how to make that money in the bank through digital marketing so that you're not just, getting those likes and follows, but going way beyond those likes and follows, getting to that money in the bank. So, all right, let's do a quick recap of the last show. In the last show, you know what we talked about? We talked a lot about social media, and we talked about social media marketing for businesses, right? So what are some of the things we chatted about? We talked about what you need to know about social media for marketing for your business. What do you need to know? You need to know that every strategy is not for you. You need to know that you understand that whatever your business goals are, that's the strategy that you should really create for yourself. Or if you're working with an agency, they should be looking at your business goals to start building a strategy for you. Social media requires a strategic approach. That's really important, right? You can't just throw spaghetti at the wall with social media. You have to really consider it as a part of your overarching digital marketing plan, your overall marketing plan. What are some of the things that you want to avoid in social media? You know what? If you are on social media, you have to engage. You want to make sure you're not buying followers, right? You want to make sure that you're consistent and that you're authentic. So you want to make sure that you're also handling negative feedback in the right way. Sometimes we get caught up, we see negative feedback and we're like, what do we do? Do we hide it? Do we run from it? Don't do any of those things. Deal with it head on and also just kind of speak your truth, but don't be offensive, right? Thank that person for their feedback and then, state the facts, but definitely pay attention to negative feedback. It can impact your reputation. The other thing with social media is why and how to use social media as a business. You want to use it actually to build community, and you want to use it as a strategic touch point within your sales funnel, right? Social media, again, is something that's really strategic. When we hear digital marketing, we think about social media only, right? But it's just one part of the pie. And so it's definitely a touch point in that sales funnel, but a great place to build opportunity, build community, and get people to talk about your brand, engage with your brand. So there are some disadvantages, of course, to social media, right? What are those disadvantages to social media? It's all about that brand reputation sometimes. People can take you down. You get to communicate with people so they get to talk back to you. And sometimes people are like, we don't like this brand. Sometimes we're caught up in a trend. Things can happen. So the disadvantages are that negative brand reputation. But if you are working consistently to build your brand and you are responding and looking at all those negative comments, you can do a world of good to impact that negative brand reputation. The other thing with social media that can be difficult is measuring return on investment, right? Because we do get hung up in the shiny object syndrome, the likes, the follows. We want to understand, though, if we are strategic and we're using social media as a strategic tool, what we do is we track we have a goal and we make sure that we're tracking to that, right? Are we driving more traffic to our website through social media? Because then you should see an increase in website traffic coming from your social media platforms. So make sure you understand what you're using social media for, right? The other thing is that it can be time consuming, but that's why it's important to work with an agency so that you're not spending all your time there, but you understand what the true strategy is. The next thing is, again, we talked a little bit about how to track social media. So we'll jump into which social media sites are the best for your brand. We get that question all the time. The ones where your target audience is, right? Don't get caught up in being everywhere. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to understand where your audience is. If you understand that, that makes the world of difference. And what is social selling versus social media marketing, right? We've been hearing all the buzzwords. In digital marketing, there are a lot of buzzwords. So social media, social selling versus social media marketing, if I had to break it down simply, it is trust building versus promotion. And you need both in order to effectively market your business online. So that is a quick recap of the conversation Monday. I'm going to bring the team back to the stage so they can, tell us what they think. How'd that recap go, guys?
Nailed it smooth. And a worthwhile topic. I think we really went into some of the do's and don'ts of social media. I like that we touched on what are the disadvantages as well. Of course, as you said, social media is just but one channel. So great topic. And I think it will lean right into our hot topic today.
Well, I'm excited about that. Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
Good morning. I'm here. I made it. No more technical difficulties and such, but I'm here and so happy to see these smiling faces.
Absolutely excited about that. So, Andrea, what are your thoughts on the recap?
Oh, I loved what we did on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I love that what we spoke about again was just very practical. We talked about both sides of social media, right? We didn't just talk about the fluffy things. We spoke about the dark side and the underbelly a little bit. Just to give people that two-sided, holistic perspective, and I love that.
Oh, well, we love when you love that. All right. So let me get some stuff out of the way. Okay. All right, guys. So for those of you that are on with us, we want you to connect with us. If you're not subscribed right now, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on LinkedIn, Your Business in Digital. If not, check us out on the podcast. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google, we're on Amazon. We are everywhere that podcasts are found. So definitely subscribe. You want to share this with a CFO who is probably signing away his life for digital activities at his company, and he may want to understand more about how to get to that ROI. You may want to share this with a CMO who is outsourcing digital marketing and maybe needs some guidance around what's the best way, what's the best type of agency to outsource, what are some of the main questions that he or she has. You might also want to share this with a business owner who's looking to scale their business and take things to the next level, right? That's what we do here on this show. We really have those hard conversations about digital. And the great thing is that we've combined all these amazing experts, right? We have sales and pricing. We have our virtual CFO. So we're talking about the numbers, the finance side of things. We have operations. And of course, we have digital marketing over here. So definitely subscribe, share the show. And the next thing we want you to do is we want you to test the effectiveness of your online presence, right? As we're talking about digital marketing, as we're talking about all these things digital, we want to make sure that you have an online presence that is actually helping you to achieve your business goals. So, you know what I like to say, scan the QR code, take the quiz. When you take this quiz, what it does, it gives you a roadmap. It tells you where your gaps are. And then you get to see, you're like, okay, this is where I need to start. I can have a strong online presence. And maybe if I have a strong online presence, maybe you just need to take it to the next level to start testing new things. If you have a weak online presence, you are spending money there. So we want to make sure that you have an online presence that supports your business and helps you to drive leads, drive sales, all the things that it's supposed to do. And if you have a medium online presence, there's room for you to grow, and you really want to maximize the impact of your online presence. We understand that digital can be daunting, right? There's so many moving parts, but that's exactly why we do this show. So take the quiz. I always have to say it 3 times, man. I feel like I cannot not say it 3 times.
And listen, I love it when you say it 3 times, right? I'm like, yeah, right?
Right. Getting all into the call to actions, right? We must have our call to action. So cheers to the call to action. All right. So moving on along, we've done our homework, we've done our recap. So now it is time for one of the most exciting segments on this show. I like to call it the da 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 dum. All right, too many booms. So, Michael, you are taking us through our hot topic this morning. Super excited about that. What is going on? Let's get some cheers for Michael.
Listen, Montana bans TikTok.
Ooh.
And we're not talking on government devices. We're talking an outright ban on TikTok. So last week, Governor of Montana signed legislation which bans TikTok on all devices. It cannot be offered in app stores, and it's effective January 1st, 2024. So this has been sending ripples through the US, of course, because this is a legal test, at least as I see it. It's a legal test. They want to see what can hold up in court. Of course, TikTok is fighting the ban. And of course, a lot of users are seeing what the impact is. Their business, creators, TikTok creators. And this is where it gets serious. So we are looking at a TikTok ban that, let me just switch to the next slide. The basis of this ban is that TikTok is a Chinese-owned company, and it's obligated to share its internal data with the Chinese government. So they've had a lot of discussions, all the security experts and whatnot. And Montana has just said, listen, we're just going to ban it outright. And that's about the size of it. TikTok is going to fight it, and we're going to see where that leads. And what it means is that before it was you can't use TikTok on any government device or any device that can access private information. But now we're looking at a position where, let's talk about this for a minute, because there are a lot of lead-ins. If you are a business that's doing government contracting, for example, what are your security requirements now going to change to be? You have 6 months to figure it out. As well, if the government is taking data privacy so seriously, what does it mean for your consumers or your customers, your audience on TikTok? And where are you moving them to? As we said, your best social media platform is where your customers are. But I'll also interject that your customers aren't only on one platform. And if they like your content and your content is driving business, maybe now is the time to shift where they get that content and start training some new behaviors. So I don't want to take too long, but the first thing is don't panic, pivot. We're going to go back to that word. Don't panic, but just pivot. Invest in your online real estate, i.e. your website. It's what you own. We've talked many times about what it means when we are basing all of our business on a platform that we don't own. And here it is, TikTok has come in, Meta has gone through its stages as well with this. But invest in your own online real estate. That's your website. That's your email database. And as I said, your customers aren't on one platform. That may be where they found you, but now is the time to start collecting some information, having different ways that you're able to talk to them. But as I went down this rabbit hole, there are a lot of legal implications, because we talk about devices, and let's just stop for a minute. It's banned on government devices, but we're speaking as if these devices aren't connected. Every device is connected.
Right.
So, and everyone has certain habits. Check my email on the way to work from my personal phone.
Right.
So there's a lot of, you may want to do, I would say to any business, I said it, especially if you're at that level where you're doing government contracting, do an impact assessment. What happens? And for every other business as well, are you doing an impact assessment at least once a year to see if you are dependent on a specific platform for business? What's the impact if that platform disappears tomorrow? That's our hot topic today. What do y'all think?
Ooh, the block was hot. Oh my.
A lot of booms. Such a hot topic. I was watching CNBC yesterday, and I heard that TikTok. So TikTok has been working with another company called Oracle, and they do a lot of data. They do a lot of all the backend databases. So Oracle has been a part of that conversation for a while, and they are now opening up or saying that they're going to open up their more information to Oracle, and that their information will be feeding through a US company. Now, it's been that way for a while. They've been partners with them for quite some time. So I'm interested to see how that that's their response to this, as well as also they're also suing Montana, right? So I am stoked to see how this pans out. But I think what's interesting is you're 100% right. From a business standpoint, right? Personally, if you love TikTok, amazing. But from a business standpoint, I think Mike hit the nail on the head. Where do you need to be? What's the assessment at this point in time? Do not, let your personal feelings guide this process. Make sure it's really a true business decision, because you can make some people love TikTok. People are like, oh my God, don't take TikTok away from me. And I'm like, slow down, relax. We can survive losing a social media platform. We will survive it, right? Regardless of if you love it or not, we will survive it. So make sure you understand how it impacts your business.
Yeah.
And remember, your content is your content. Remember, if users will engage with your content, that doesn't change. It's where you're delivering your content is changing.
Right. To go back to a couple of things that we've been saying for a couple of years now, as we have been in these digital streets, is omni-channel presence, one, which are two, own the relationship outside of this space. Where have you been fostering a greater relationship and driving them to get their email address, to engage them on a website, to move them from that stage of your business in a different presence there? And I think that the third piece that we all are failing to understand in this space is that you think TikTok is the only one that has that information. The same thing is going to happen on the Meta side. Same thing on the Twitter side. That information is there, and what happens with TikTok is going to affect the rest of the spaces. And how are we owning our own business and driving that relationship? The handwriting for this has been on the wall for quite some time. And what are we as business owners going to do to lean in, have that conversation with our client, and shift our business accordingly to ensure survivability, that it's sustainable and you're here and will not go extinct because you've had one doorway to your business. And that's what we have been speaking of. How many entrances are we meeting? Are people where we are? If we think that's the only space that that client has been in, then as a business owner, you've not been paying attention, because none of us are sitting in one space for our information, not one. And so this is an invitation for you to expand your horizons a bit, move yourself, and have a very strong omni-channel presence, because otherwise you're going to be extinct. I think that's going to be my new word for the year, extinct.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Meta, because Meta was just fined in Europe for transferring data back to the States. So there you go.
This is like a great soap opera. The battle of all these apps for data. The soap opera stories are about the battle for love and who loves who. It's the battle of people's data. And I love it. I'm here for it with my popcorn, right? Just for the entertainment. My first comment though is Montana though, they're the first state to do this. Like, I found that strange. Like, what I was just trying to figure out why Montana was the first. How come, another state, didn't do it first? But I guess there's a little political thing in the background there.
Always political. Like I said, legal. This is what I call legal prodding, right?
Yeah. But my mind just went like, really, Montana? You took that controversial step, but okay, no problem. But what it also reminds me of is just this week when at my recently completed webinar, that is exactly what I spoke about. That reliance, how it translates into your business. It's that heavy reliance on one source of money, right? So if it is all your business is coming off of TikTok as an app, that's one source of money. And if you don't have multiple streams, multiple sources, you're down the road to business failure, right? You're down the road for bankruptcy and all of that. So I think, it really is a time for businesses to really sit and say, hey, this is what is going to happen to TikTok. And Michael used the correct word. I guess we're going back to, I hated the word during the pandemic, but I guess we got to go back to it now. They have to pivot. So it's like it's like COVID for TikTok. You have to approach it the same way, because there was a total, remember, for COVID, there was a total shutdown. You couldn't go to the places that you loved. And what did people do? They pivoted to try to get it in another way. You couldn't go to your restaurant, so the restaurant turned around and served it up via delivery. So TikTok, it's COVID for TikTok. Let's see what's going to happen.
Oh, I love that analogy. I love
it. Oh my goodness.
TikTok still has COVID.
Yeah, TikTok still has COVID. That's rich on so many levels. I don't even know if you know the layers. Oh my goodness. All right. Before we get kicked off the air. Oh, wait. We don't have to worry about that. It's another reason I like them. All right. Okay. I always OD with that. All right. So really, really great conversation. I think the where we need to end up is, as a business, how are you thinking about this? Remove those personal feelings and understand that having an omni-channel presence is really critical to this entire process. People must be able to find you in different places. And there's, as Michelle says it all the time, there's not one door to enter your house. Why is there one door to enter your business? And find your people where they are, and make sure that they're coming to your home, your website, your email database, those places where you get to engage and interact with them and move them further and further down your funnel through a great customer journey, all the things we've talked about in the past. So, Michael, I don't know, you did really good. But Andrea, I had to come back to you because you know what? Yesterday was your workshop. How did things go? Tell us everything.
Yeah, so I had my workshop. It was Monday. It was Monday evening, and I think it was really well received in terms of the information was really needed. What I recognize is we have businesses that really want to grow, and they're just not sure what's that first step. And my intent is to focus on businesses that want to grow by using corporate contracts as their tool, right? They don't just want to sell to more people, but they want to say, listen, I think there's a corporate segment here that I could get a big payday, right? Corporate contracts equals big payday. So it will be 3 to 5 smaller sales versus one big payday. And if you want, it's a great way to scale. And if you want to scale your business that way, there are certain steps that you can take. And my topic on Monday was speaking about the cash flow side of things, right? How do you prepare your cash flow for that process of getting that bigger payday? So it was really good. I think, of course, learned a few lessons in terms of how I'm going to do it. I'm going to probably bring it back soon enough again, but this is going to be the start of how your virtual CFO, intends to impact and educate entrepreneurs on their next steps on getting their bigger deals.
All right, that's enough. We're so proud. We love that. That is awesome because, again, that's another part of our goal here at Your Business in Digital. And I love that you're moving that initiative forward, really helping businesses to scale and to think about corporate contracts because there's a huge opportunity there. So kudos to you for that. And of course, if you ever need any help, you have operations, you know exactly where to come. The entire team is right here. All right, guys. So you know what time it is. It is time for us to go to one of my favorite sections. It's time for us to go beyond the likes. And what are we doing today when we go beyond the likes? Today, we are exploring the nexus of sales and digital marketing with, and amazing gentleman that Michael and I have been working with for the last few months, Mr. Jeff Krum, independent publishing consultant. So we are going to bring Jeff to the stage. Jeff, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you this morning?
Fantastic, Tamara. Fantastic. It's great to be with you guys and to join the land of the great vibes and the amazing sound effects.
Well, we're glad that you like the sound effects. We're so excited to have you. So, Jeff, as we are, it's a lot of us here. Guys, say hello to Jeff before we. All right.
Hello, Jeff.
I'm going to
Hi,
start
Jeff.
back so we can kind of get a little one-on-one with Jeff. So, Jeff, introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Jeff Krum. I'm an independent publishing consultant, which means working primarily in the educational publishing space, which is where my experience has been, really linking up product development, product marketing and research, and then product marketing with sales and marketing, and really bringing excellence into the product, but also making sure that everything that I do and that my clients do is customer centric, using the data and using the digital data to make sure that we are meeting the customer's needs, and sometimes even before they know what those needs are.
Oh, Jeff. So, Mike, I'm going to let you go because I know Mike is like, yay!
This has been such an exciting relationship that we're building. Jeff, you're amazing as far as translating digital. So let's just dive right in, right? So the first question on the list is, how have you adopted your process to incorporate digital?
Well, I mean, I've always been weird in my profession, in the sense that publishing is always focused on the product rather than the customer. And customers, we always thought, well, what do they need in terms of books? And then digital came in and totally disrupted publishing, continuing to do so. And it says, what digital do we need? When in fact our customers really come to us for help, quite simply. So in order to be able to help, digital and digital intelligence that comes from data really helps us to know them more intimately, to personalize the offerings, to break them down into little bite sizes, and what publishing tends to be, traditionally was a manuscript, and then you make a book, and then you print the book, and you stack it on pallets, and you sell it, distribute it, and sell it. But digital is so nonlinear, and it is so the information, and it's so back and forth, as you've been saying, that it's completely changing the way I think. And in working with you guys, Michael and Tamara, you've absolutely helped me continue that, accelerate that digital transformation in my own head, which has been such the exciting part. Things that I thought I could never do, or like, how do I get there from here? How do I explain that to them? You guys have been like filling in the blanks for me, and it's been an amazing learning experience. So I'm really grateful for that to you guys.
Oh, you're most welcome, and I'm glad you touched about those data points and knowing your customer better and how you've been able to lean into that's been really key. So absolutely, we enjoy working with you, and yeah, we have more to go today. Wow.
Go for it, Michelle.
Jeff, I'm utterly fascinated with what you do. One, because I read a lot. One, and I remember personally trying to transition from my touch and feel of books and moving into the space. One of the things that I do in Lanyap is that's one of our core places, is helping people to transition from what they see as a brick and mortar into the digital world, and understanding that. For those that are listening in that are struggling for that piece too, as you're helping your area of business move into it, what are some of the key benefits that you found in transitioning into that digital space?
I think you touched upon it earlier, where you go where your customers are, and they live in a digital space. And I think one mistake I think our business has made was where we think that we can sometime, in educational publishing in particular, that we can think that we are inventing the internet. We think that we are, we create these relationships, and we're not understanding how our customers think, how they shop, how they relate to one another, and it's really leaning into it. I mean, I really liked what you were talking about when you said, your business shouldn't just have one door. I mean, you just have to be in this ecosystem and really be thinking sort of multidimensionally. It's really been transformational in the way it's caused me to think and be open to new ideas. And I know you use the P word, the pivot word, but constantly pivoting without getting dizzy. So I think being open to change, embracing change, and realizing that change is a constant, and embracing, for me, it's been embracing expertise coming from new directions, coming from Manavan, for example, things that I didn't know. Now I know, and I want to know more. Um, so I would say be open to new ideas, and link up with people who, new ideas come from really interesting directions. They're unexpected. So that's what I would say is seek out new ideas and be open to them.
Oh my goodness. Can we get some sound effects? What are we doing here? I love that. So, Jeff, next question for you. So, as we've been working together, one of the things I loved is the fact that you are so on the pulse of what your customer is saying. I mean, I think one of the documents you presented to us was just like it was like a 4 or 5 page document with just all the things teachers, administrators are thinking, feeling, just all their thoughts. So you're really privy to their pain points, and their areas of satisfaction. So, how has this information, how have you seen us use this information to effectively really bolster a digital strategy?
Well, I think that a digital strategy is a strategy. I think sometimes you think about digital strategy as some sort of thing that's never existed before. It's a digitally enhanced strategy, perhaps, as I see it. And so therefore, if I want to let my customers know that I have a solution for them, that I have been in their shoes, that I hear them, that I know them, and that I get them, then I need to be able to show them and to demonstrate that. And so to be able to communicate that and let them know, in bite-sized pieces with the right words at the right time and the right way. When a customer, we know sometimes our customers, well, customers don't always signal to us when they're thinking of making a change, right? So they're at rest. They're kind of thinking passively. So if they just maybe put in a Google search, what words are they going to use, and what do they need to see? And it's almost like when we buy a car, the last thing we're going to do is walk into the showroom, right? You know, we get the hard sell, right? But I may go online. I may just check things out. I may just walk over and do things, but I'm invisible to the car company. And our customers are invisible to us, but yet if we put things out there, they need to find us. They need to know who we are. Um, so this is, that's really been, a way to take what I have learned and what I know about the customers and let them know, hey, we get you. We know what you're thinking. We know that this is a pain point for you. We know that this is a seemingly intractable problem, and yet, um, so that's been the fun thing, and digital's really allowed us to do that in ways where I thought was never possible.
Oh, good answers. Andrew, so much fun, right?
I
I,
know it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and digital and publishing is I see it's like the end of the two opposite sides of the spectrum. Publishing, what we knew publishing to be was physical books. I myself, as a reader, I love, going into a bookstore and picking up that physical book, the smell of it, the touch of it, the feel of it, right? And now, the way where we're going is with digital, and people have had to make that transition. I could tell you, I for one, I only recently started using Kindle, and when I tell you recently, as in maybe last year, I downloaded my first Kindle book and started reading on Kindle because I was the old school way. I was going down fighting. I was like, no, I want a physical book. I want the shelves filled. I know I can't read all of them all at once, but that's okay. I go and spend hours in a bookstore just, you know, skimming through books and things for, just for no good reason, right? But I find this topic about digital and publishing really interesting. So I really love the conversation, but I want to take it to the part of the creative side of it, the whole AI conversation now, right? So we know, digital is just a tool, is one of the ways that books are being served up to people. But now with the introduction of AI is now getting a little bit, a few steps back in structure that's being produced. The question I want to ask is, what are your thoughts on what in terms of how is it in as it continues to advance and is becoming increasingly prevalent? What is your perspective on how it is being used in this industry? What are the benefits and the drawbacks, etc.?
That's a really interesting question. I've been thinking a lot about AI. I'm sure you've all seen the video, or sorry, the movie, the social dilemma. Um, that that the one of the main protagonists in that movie, one of the people behind it, a guy named Tristan Harris, he and a colleague named Izzy Raskin did a YouTube video a few months ago called "The AI Dilemma." I recommend it to you. It's really interesting. It's both exhilarating and terrifying. And how close are we to Skynet? you know, um, but I see AI as my sous chef. That basically it's chopping up my vegetables and getting things in the right way. But one of the quotes that I love is a quote. Is basically the saying that the music is not in the piano, that there's a lot of things that AI can do more quickly, do more intelligently, but there's other things that you just need that final shaping, and you need that final knowledge. That you know AI is not going to Photoshop my soul. It's not going to it's not going to replace who I am. And the human element is going to be there, particularly, I mean, I'm on the educational side of publishing, and there's going to be a need for the human connection. There are things that the technology and AI will do increasingly well in terms of teaching grammar, in terms of doing feedback and helping people learn. But yet, we all love a tutor. You can have a virtual tutor, but you can't learn how to play tennis by watching a YouTube video. You just can't. And you need to be around other tennis players. So you AI is going to really be transformational. It's transforming my own business as a consultant, in the sense that I saw myself as partially content creation, and then shaping that. But I see myself more increasingly thinking about connections and wisdom, connections, and how do we connect with customers, and using AI as a part of that. One of the things that I've always felt is the answers always come really easily, but it's the questions that are really hard, right? And so I've seen that in AI, if you ask the right questions to AI, you can get really, really fruitful information. So in that same vein, how do we learn how to ask better questions of AI in order to get what we can do, so AI can be our sous chef and chop our vegetables for us, um, so that we can do what we only can do, that X factor that we have, that human competitive advantage, that soul that we bring, that spirit we bring, like the vibe that we have here in this conversation. The AI is not going to do that, right? So how do we let AI do all that for us so that we can do what we do best? And for me, that's the challenge.
I love that answer. I love that answer because I never thought about it that way. I never thought about it that way. And so far, the conversations that people have been having about AI have more been on that, but what you say, that taking away pieces of us, replacing us, that sort of thing. And I love the analogy of no, they're the sous chef before we get to the point of the actual creation. Because when I think of AI, and in the publishing space, I'm thinking of how they're using AI to generate the content, right? But you're saying no, they're just helping us get to the point because we have to ask the right question. So it's asking, I guess, writers or creators to probably flip the switch and say, think about the questions that you need answered instead. as opposed to writing the answer wholly and solely. So I guess I love that analogy in terms of being a sous chef, because I really think so far the conversation about AI has been skewed towards they're here to take over the world, they're here to take us over. You know, you have lawmakers, people, not lawmakers. I think people, there was a petition for them to stop the development and all these sorts of things. You know, but I like how you placed it, because I was really worried for creators, creators like yourself, the publishers, the writers, because you know AI, you put in the question and AI is spitting out articles for you. You know, so what is going to happen to those people who do that for a living? But I like this option. I like this analogy, and you know, I think it was really quite helpful.
Oh, thanks. And I think if you're gonna, I think if your aspirations are only to do what everybody else does, AI is fine. But our aspirations ought to be to do something more. Our aspirations ought to be to add value, to learn and grow, to learn and to step up. And that's where we as experts can add something, that we can partner, we can collaborate, we can find new ways of approaching things, new angles of things, where again, if AI just does what's there, at least at least at this point, from what I can see. But I think if our aspirations are always to do something more, to do something better, to improve life, to improve someone else's business and struggle, to provide, to serve basically, and not just a profit, then we can there'll always be a place for us, and AI will be our tool, not our master.
Jeff is out here this morning. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Oh, Jeff, so I'm going to add to this question, because Tamara and I had a conversation yesterday, and when we talk disruptive technologies, when MP3s came, the entire music industry was up in arms. It's going to bankrupt us, and similarly, AI has now come. So we have this initial response to new technology, right? That's always, who's it going to put out of business? And as you rightfully said, it doesn't add that human component. It gets you, we like to say, about 60 to 70% of the way. And I don't think there's any better analogy than, that sous chef. So in publishing, I guess the meat of the question really comes to, how much would you use it in content development? Say, would you lean into that tool? How would you use it, say, in reading the data? So as you said, it's your sous chef collecting everything. So is it something that you see, particularly, are you embracing it as a plus, which we already know you are, but are you really embracing it? And do you see the industry, where the industry can benefit on it as we go forward?
I think, I mean, I can speak specifically to English language learning, which is my area of expertise, ESL. And AI can help create content quickly. I mean, if you wanted to say, um, I basically was playing around with it and saying, can you write me a history of pizza at this particular language level, in 200 words? And 10 seconds later, I had it. Can you do it at this language level in 200 words? And it did it again. So from that point of view, the way it can create content is terrifyingly fast. And if you are a writer and you're that content creator, then there's some threat to you. No doubt, no doubt. But we're in a place now where English is now the lingua franca. English is the world language. It's a shared language, the way Latin used to be back in the Middle Ages, right? So it's the language of commerce, business, the internet. And more, the focus on publishers is on kids. So more and more kids have English. So what you've seen in educational publishers, ESL publishers, is focusing more on proving your English, have a standard, being able to say, look, employer, this is my level of English. Look, this is what I can do with my English. This is what I can do for your company. And so the way that you can prove that, the way that you hone those skills, where it's writing or other things, or being able to communicate, you can hone those skills using AI, but you can also use AI. Certainly with, you've seen Grammarly Plus and so many tools coming out, a new one every week, that will enable you as an English speaker to be more successful. So yeah, so so I think it's changing content creation tremendously, and it's helping to put to make you know language testing more meaningful. So instead of there being a sort of a your test, your final exam, if you will, actually you can use what's called formative assessment, which is test along the way. How are you doing? Oh, you need help with this. Well, test along the way. Oh, you need help with that. So by the end, you're not you're not learning to the test, but you're actually learning the material, where the test is simply like, yeah, you know this. So it's having a huge impact on content creation. No doubt, no doubt.
I'm loving, it's been great actually sitting back backstage listening as an audience member, because the value that you're bringing to the table and the way that you're restating some of the information. I think if our community isn't, I think you need to stop and pause instead of multitasking, lean in and stop and watch us, because this is one of the pivotal moments that I think is applicable to us in our personal lives as well as our professional lives. You said something that I thought was really important that I think everyone needs to lean into, especially as you said, the sous chef, as what they're doing in the questions that you're asking to be intentional. What we speak of often in this space of how do you utilize and plan into it in AI. I think we have adopted to this one and adapted to it far easier than some, because we are intentional in our actions in it. And I think in the space when I was trying to hone my skills in this, the prompt engineering that we're prompting it to feed back the information that we seek to pull in. Just as you said, you went in and said, give me the information at this level. And the questions that you're asking are real specific. And I think in the sales relational component of it, as we've been speaking and talking about this and attracting our clients, what are the discovery intentional questions that we're asking to learn and lean into our target audiences, as well as into the persona of the people that we're trying to attract for our businesses. As you have been in this space, how are you managing into the area of business that you're dealing with, and tying the sales component to the digital component? I find as we are leaning into this, finding the translation table for everyone so that they can apply something from their daily lives into this space to help them transition has been key to helping them to connect the dots and understanding that there is a strong sales component to what they're doing, and either you adapt to it and figure this out, or you can't be sustainable in this digital age. So how are you finding the transition, and how have you been connecting that sales dot to the digital component of it?
Oh, well, I think Tamara and Mike have heard the gears grinding in my head about making the transition. It's hard work. It's really hard. You have to hold all of your preconceived notions in an open hand, which is a good thing to do, because bad ideas can fall away, but also good ideas can be added, which is really exciting. I think the sales component, learning about where in our sales funnel traditionally, how we are um, interacting with our customers. I mean, traditionally, the traditional publishing model, the educational publishing model is we would research a need, we would create a solution, then go and build, test and build that solution, and then basically give it to the sales folks and marketing folks, say good luck. And that's just less than primitive. That's just it's just bad. And and now to be able to engage with customers in the sales product. So it's actually maybe a bit of a blurring of the lines between sort of this is the marketing stage and this is the sales stage. That maybe the sales stage is always ongoing, and maybe the marketing stage is an ongoing conversation, and maybe product development is this conversation. So wait a second, we do an A/B test. Um, so it I'm getting the sound effects here. But no, but it's true. And this is what's cool. It's like stuff I never thought was possible. What has been artificially a linear model, simply based on a physical process. When you take that physical process away, the model, you should basically look at a process that is nonlinear if you actually have a nonlinear relationship. And so that's what I've been learning in my relationship with you guys. It's just like what's possible. And how about this? How about that? And the ideas and the strategies you've brought to me have really transformed my thinking. Like I just want to give one example. That we created a landing page, and one of the things on the page was a quiz. And in my publishing background, any interaction when I'm interacting with a customer, it's a survey. Because I want specific information because I have an agenda. When in fact, if my relationship with them is to show them that, hey, I get them, look at the questions that I'm asking them, and this is not a survey, but it's a quiz. It's to draw them in and to introduce them to the potential of a relationship, and to ask them, eventually to say, hey, give us your email address so that we can go further with this relationship. That was complete. It just like totally just changed my thinking about the relationship between the sales model and the publishing model, and in the customer relationship, and that would never have been possible without digital.
Wow.
So it's just been I come to every day I'm like going, what
Wow. Yeah. Something else that you said that I appreciate too, as you pulled into the space that you sit in every day in the educational component, where you mentioned I think you said maybe it's a formative, where you're doing a pulse check along the way and to trying to understand the education level. And we've spoken about this in this space, and I teach my clients this as well, as your discovery questions or throughout the know, like, trust factor as you're getting to know each other. You're doing a pulse check to understand, are they still engaged? Are they still with us? And then you're understanding, well, here's their point where they're unfamiliar or uncertain, so I need to lean in a bit further or give more information, make them feel a bit more comfortable. And I know we were speaking about that in relation to AI, but the human factor of what you're bringing to the table, and you're saying in the engagement process, it's important for you to test and to touch and to do a pulse check. And we're relating that on the digital side as well, as we show them how to do this. Have you been able to find that through line on the sales and the digital component in the world that you deal with on the publishing side of business? I would think, as you're right, we get to a place where we're doing some educational components and there's a pause and there's a list of questions for you to circle back to what you've just read, make sure you test, and then set you up for the next phase of where you're going. Have you been able to translate that in the sales and the digital space with the people that you're dealing with, or has it been, come on, let me grab you and let me drag you into this space? That's when we're finding, like, you're coming, let me take your wrist and I'm going to walk you through this part of my house,
That's a great question. I think we're right in the middle of the learning process. At least I am, and I think we'll see how we did and see how we're doing, and we will, continue. Oh, that worked. That didn't work. Oh, yes, more of this, please. Oh, or heaven forbid, let's never do that again. But I think that to be, in this relationship, it's less about pushing and more about pulling. It's less about convincing and more about inviting. And and how we do that is a marriage of art and science, which is kind of like the whole AI question. And just the art and science that Mike and Tamara have brought to this have been amazing, as I bring sort of the art and science of what I have, and it's been incredible. I mean, I'm really grateful to you guys for the lessons that I'm learning and for really transforming my thinking. I mean, I have to go back and really think about what is it that I do, because I've discovered that I can do different things and that there are different needs out there. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting. I mean, digital is beyond what I thought it was.
Listen, Jeff is. There's so many things that I wish we had another hour this morning. But I'm going to run straight back to the quiz and talking about that quiz for a second. So, what was interesting in this whole process is that, Jeff, coming from sales, we didn't discount or discard the benefit of what sales knew, what you know. So it was able to, absolutely guide that content. We went through a collaborative process of, this is how, as you said, it's a more inviting. I love that you made that differentiation. It's not a push, it's an invitation in. And we were able to come to a quiz that, you challenged me for sure with the quiz, but we were able to come to a quiz where we clearly identified who we were aiming at with the quiz. We were able to say, well, these are the questions that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And that absolutely opens the door for us to continue talking to them and continue nurturing them. So the sales information, I think, I just want to make that, just put that point out there, that sales absolutely informed what marketing is doing. And marketing was able to now say, well, okay, this is how the form looks now that it gets delivery to that customer. And as I said, it's changing that push to pull from that, buy this. And I loved when you make that differentiation. You're getting 10 points in class today. That differentiation between quiz and survey. A company doing a survey saying, listen, I just want information about you. Let me know about you. And a quiz is more saying, tell me something about yourself or how you're dealing with some pain point. And that is a beautiful way to open the door. We're talking about the whole analogy of houses having different doors and how do you invite somebody into your home. So I love it. I love it.
No, so Jeff, you are killing it today. See exactly why we needed you on the show. So, right. Jeff, one of the things I'd love to talk about is, yesterday we had a really great session as we were working together and we found opportunity, right? So let's talk about finding opportunity online that almost we didn't know existed, or we didn't know it existed, but we were able to find an opportunity and find an area to fill a gap. And we were talking through in ESL, right? There are a lot of standards and a lot of assessments and a lot of things that schools have to go through, and the administrators and all the things. And Jeff knows all of them, right? They're crazy names too, like WIOA and just there are all these crazy acronyms. But one of the things we were doing yesterday is we're running some Google ads and we were looking at some keywords. And we were digging deeper into the keywords, and this one word, WIOA, had so much search volume. So which means that a lot of people were searching for it consistently on a monthly basis, maybe about 12,000 searches, right? So there was some alarm there for me because it was just like, I don't know that we want to go after this word because it could be pretty broad. So as we started digging into the word, when we searched for it, what we saw was a lot of government agencies with a lot more jargony type things. And I was just like, oh, let me pop over to YouTube really quickly. And when we went over to YouTube, put in search, WIOA explained, what we saw was videos that were 6 and 5 years old, right? And in that moment, we were on with a client. We kind of saw an opportunity to say, hey, if we start the conversation about explaining this standard to teachers and new administrators, because we understand that there's been a shift during COVID, if we start explaining to them what they need, what it is in these bite-sized bits, that we can start owning a conversation that's an important conversation. And so Jeff, talk about like just uncovering that yesterday, that opportunity there, and how you now see that as a longer term strategy that really could be leveraged, because no one is owning the conversation. So there's really truly an opportunity to own the conversation and translate that into sales.
I think that's a really great point. That what we discovered yesterday was that WIOA, this one of the many acronyms in ESL, another acronym, English as a second language, that there's an opportunity to actually to go back and to sort of address the questions that our research is telling us that. So we have basically, there's a gap. 2018, this new trend, the market, or sort of the field, was changed by government standards. This WIOA legislation came in. And that was, the workplace implementation and something act. I can't remember, but 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 everybody in 2018, what is it? What is it? What is it? So boom, all those videos came out in 2018, which are however many years old now, and but now, after COVID, there's a new cohort of administrators coming in who our research is telling us they don't know what this means. They don't know what to do with it, and they're slightly freaked out about it. And so I think we identified that a gap between this really sort of in-depth, in the weeds explanation of what this WIOA Act is and what it means to them. We need to redo that, but in a lighter way with a different emphasis on them, to say we don't have to worry about this. Here's all it is, and point them to pre-existing resources and things. So it was a really interesting way to discover an opportunity, and to avoid having to spend a lot of money on the ads. Going for this high level WIOA, which we would have been reaching, undoubtedly, because it's such a broad government act. People basically learning how to be welders, or
Wow.
it was really, really smart and really insightful in how we were able to kind of fine tune that. So it really gave us a next step strategy and what we can do. And I know that there was a question about sort of traditional marketing tactics like book tours, which came up in the chat. The opportunity is to bring in one of the authors of the book
Mm.
to in short little video presentations to say, hey, are you new? Do you wonder what this is? Here's what it means to you. I'm the author. I'm the expert. And again, it goes back to what our customers need. Our customers need help. Help can take many forms. Help can be reassurance. Help can be a tool. Help can be creative ideas. But as we listen and find out what help looks like, we now use the digital to find ways to deliver that help in ways, bite-sized ways that can be consumed when they're ready to consume it, that will genuinely help them. So.
Yeah. You know what? I love what you just said, and for those in our community that are listening, what Jeff just tied back to was something that we spoke about last week when we were speaking of our target audience, when we were speaking about the personas of the people and understanding and reassessing over the course of time, given the changing conditions and environments that we're in, taking a pause and really assessing, and do you understand your consumer and your prospects, and how should we speak to them to engage and make it about them? And he just walked through a fine example of what that looks like in a changing world, in a COVID world. There's a new consumer that's at the table at a different level, and they had to step back, reassess, and provide and serve up that information at their point in the buying cycle, and educate them in a digestible format that they are able to absorb the information and level up to the space that they can now take them and move them to the next stages of that journey that they're walking into. So that customer mapping and that transition that Tamara was speaking of, and Michael, as they spoke about the Monovan piece, Jeff just served that up to us. Again, in a different example in his industry that I think that we can take and apply in every different space. And I'm just geeking out on this entire conversation.
So if I just wanted to add one piece to that, is that these small little nuggets of help, they need to be digestible, they need to be consumable, but they also need to be shareable. And what's real, and that's again another advantage of digital, of where you can turn a customer into an advocate, and where if we get it right, they will become our ally, they will become our advocate, and that's the opportunity that we have. We can give them something that they can consume and never tell anybody, but if we do it in a way that, hey, did you see, I got to share this with you, right? That's our digital world now. We're sharing links and all that. Can we do that in our business too? Can that just be our mindset from the get-go, that if something is good enough to tell them, it's good enough to help them share it?
we often, I tell you, Jeff, you just walked in and literally don't understand. We speak about this often, and that it's a sales continuum, that we bring them in and we want to get them to not just being a customer and a repeat, a buyer of ours and there for the long haul, but that's part of the reviews that we need. We need the validation and the invitation in and bringing someone else into this space. And an advocate, that's exactly what we're asking for everyone to consider. And yet again, another example, where did you find him? It's just because this has just been so without knowing.
The comments, love this. Golden nuggets. Thank you, Trisha. Good morning, Dana. Good morning, Allison. Everyone is such great conversation. Andrew, I brought you back up because I know you were like in the chat. Go ahead, say what you need to say because we gotta wrap up soon.
I know he kind of delved into the question that I asked in the private chat, but so I guess I can't be the CFO and not ask a numbers question, right? So tell me a bit. So you've spoken about how you've made tweaks with the marketing tactics. Traditional tactics have changed in how you guys would operate. But generally speaking, as an industry, how have you seen the industry perform from a revenue perspective with the age of digital? Is it as a whole? I mean, I know, and when I say industry, meaning maybe your space, or even if you want to go broader, that's fine. But how has it behaved, or how has it performed with the advent of digital? Do you have like a pre-digital number and a post-digital number that you could just give us an idea?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, and I don't know how I can answer it. I'll be honest. That the publishing industry, they made their money by selling physical products, and now how do you make money from a digital product where customers think that the digital should be free? So there's been a lot of question there. For myself and for my own business, I've only been doing this for a year, so on my own. So that's a question that I'm actually wrestling with right now. I'm actually thinking about. So I don't have an answer to that. If we want to talk about how digital has disrupted the publishing industry, it could go on for another couple of hours. But I think that it's an ongoing question, and I'd love to be able to give you a definitive answer on that, but I feel like I really can't at this point.
Nope. And I feel like you did. I feel like you have given me an answer, because just the fact that you're saying, people expect it for free in a digital world. How do you sell something that people expect to get free? I think that's some serious bells going off there for me, because now it sounds like it's a bit tougher to define what your sale really is, right? And you're right. You go on now I can say I go on Kindle and I see the Kindle version of a book is much cheaper than the physical book. And yeah, people expect that it should be cheaper. And to your point, there are certain things they expect to be totally free. Just because what they don't see the cost anymore. So, but I appreciate the answer, and I think I appreciate the perspective.
Yeah, I would just say though that one of the keys is again reframing the question. So does someone is coming to you and they said, well, this book and this you have this this content and it's online, therefore it should be free. But what are you actually selling? Are you selling content? Are you selling expertise? Are you selling knowledge? Are you selling wisdom? Are you selling just a story? Are you selling experience? Are you selling the past? Are you selling the future? How you frame that, I think, will be key to how you connect with the needs, and you can base people. People, I think, will pay for solutions to their problems. So it's really a question of how you understanding their problems and how you frame the solution that you're offering.
Oh, Jeff, it has been awesome to have you here today. This has been such a great conversation. The comments are jumping. People have been in and out. I mean, I know everyone feels really good. I have to bring Michael back because I know he's like smiling.
I'm like back here just nodding my head like, oh my goodness, Jeff.
This was
So
really a
much.
great
We
conversation.
might have to have a part 2,
We
you know,
definitely might have
conversation.
to have a part 2 or behind the scenes. But Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
you know, really thank you for working with us and embracing digital the way you have. I think that's been really the part for us that's been really helpful, the way you've just been open to embracing it and asking the questions and trying. And, you know, we've had to go back to the drawing board a few times, but each time we've really pushed the envelope. And the products that we are working on for this client, I think, is really the right thing, and I think will really move them leaps and bounds and give them the data to really have some different conversations. So I am really, really excited about the possibilities. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. And thank you for drawing that bridge between marketing and sales, right? Yeah. It was invaluable to first to prove out, listen, this is how marketing and sales actually connects, to provide, you know, value to the business, value, an ongoing value that we can see, direction, we can pause, we can, you know, do a lot of things. So there it is, marketing and sales hand in hand.
And Allison just said, mind blowing. So Jeff, you are, I gotta bring you back. Have a great day, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care. All right, man. The show has gone over. We have been in party mode today, geeking out, nerding out, learning.
That was awesome. I could use a couple of hours more with Jeff to really, I mean, it's.
I know. We'll bring him back. We'll definitely
suppress myself this show.
But all right, so it's 8:12, so I'm going to do some of the housekeeping, get it out of the way. Guys, connect with us on YouTube, connect with us on LinkedIn, connect with us on our podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google. We are everywhere. So definitely connect with us. Share with a CMO who is looking to outsource their digital marketing efforts. Share with a CFO who is looking to learn more about, hey, what am I really signing off on for digital? And share with a business owner who's looking to scale and grow their business, because this information is really, really valuable and it helps you think about your business in digital. The great thing we've done is we've pulled together the ideal team, right? Because this is really the true nexus of a business. Hear me using a new fancy word? Sales, marketing, finance, and operations all having a conversation about how to move your business to digital and how to get to a place of that money in the bank, because that's what we're really all concerned about, right? How do we make digital work for us? How do we make digital achieve our business goals? And how do we get most out of digital? How do we see that return on investment? So definitely connect with us. Tell more folks about your business in digital. Also, take the quiz, scan the QR code, go scan the QR code, take the quiz. This tells you where you are. This gives you your baseline numbers. This tells you where you can grow to. It gives you a little bit of a roadmap. And of course, you want to talk to us, but take the quiz. It's going to open up your mind to so many different things. All right. So there we have done it, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Jeff. Again, we cannot believe that we did this today. This was really, really awesome. Have an amazing Wednesday, and we will see you guys on Monday. Take it easy. Bye.